Welcome everybody to a bit of news here about NIO. So NIO is announcing a proposed offering of new shares, and this morning this news hit me with a surprise. I did not anticipate and estimate that they would do such kind of an offering as of now. For one, I think the earnings has shown that they have higher than personally estimated cash position right now. Plus, on a second reason, I think currently at this valuation, it's not very attractive to issue shares, frankly. But there are some details to that and maybe something that may explain the timing here. So I'm sharing what I currently know. Obviously, that's not financial advice, but it does feel as a punch in the gut of retail investors again. So this doesn't feel right, and it does feel a bit ad hoc and in chaotic manner, I have to say. So what do we know? Well, we know for sure that it's going to be new. Currently about 120 million shares being offered, and that they are not going to, so they are offshore and they're not going to a US person, and they will not be traded in Hong Kong and in Singapore. So this is a little bit unusual here, which kind of means it's almost like a private placement. It does feel like there is a buyer out there already for these shares. An institution, a partner, a current investor, who knows? It's not explicit in this news release as far as I've seen. Maybe somebody else has other information. If I can just speculate about that, we've heard in the recent days about a couple of partnerships forming. So for one with CATL, where we've heard they might want to invest more, but my understanding was in NIO Power and not in NIO directly. The second one is about the partnerships with local governments that we see for batteries swap station build-outs. Maybe there is something forming up that they want to have a stake in NIO in kind of a exchange for that. Then, of course, we also have some news around NIO looking for a third-party retailer for new strategies of rollout of new brands like Firefly and Onvo, where possibly if there's a big retailer that is going to sell NIOs on behalf of them, might want to have a stake in the company, who knows. And then last but not least, we have, of course, current owners like Abu Dhabi, who may want to buy up some more shares in such kind of a private deal. So it's roughly 5% of the current shares outstanding. I think that's also the market reaction to that. But frankly, the message and the news here leaves me a little bit baffled because, for one, I didn't expect it, and second, there's no real explanation to that. One thing that we see here, of course, they always give a kind of an explanation. What they want to do with that is using the proceeds for research and development, and also further strengthening of the balance sheet, as well as for general corporate purposes. I think the main point here might be actually about strengthening the balance sheet. What could be a potential reason is that their ratio between equity and debt is turning in a way that the current creditors are unhappy to keep either financing in the future, or they ask for more certainty in a way of putting up more equity, and NIO might be called to doing that. Nonetheless, if that's the case, it may explain it, as would some partnerships or the other ways how this could be explained that I mentioned. But still, the timing, still feels odd and chaotic and not really in an orderly manner and fashion. At least that's the feeling that it's kind of putting out there, in my opinion. I think that's also how most of the retail investors are seeing it outside of that. But we'll know maybe in the future with another release what might really be behind that deal. Again, the timing seems to be odd in my opinion, but maybe you have some ideas. Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and see you in my next videos.